The personal impact on you, the carer, following someone with an acquired brain injury is immense. It's enormous. People have dreams. Your life was on one path, and now you've in this carer's role. We all wear different hats in life. My hats as a husband, a father. I have 2 young boys, and you too have many hats. I'm a son. So what hats do we wear? But there was an additional role put on you as well. These different roles that we have in life. And the additional role of being a carer. It's not one that you wanted. Nobody particularly wants this role. I too am a carer. My wife is post-cancer. I have her permission to talk about this. And in this COVID period, we have to be additionally careful. So I understand this carer's role. It's not something that we wanted. It's a pain in the butt. There's no other way of saying it. That's the reality of it. But it's where we are at with that. How does that sit with us? Is it such a big hat that it sort of falls down and consumes us? Or can we put it in one part of our life? I suppose that's the challenge of this program, is that we can try and get some perspective. Because we know that the setup of our lives can be day to day. For some people, you might have had to give up work. For some people, their relationship has changed. Some people, the routines certainly have changed in the house. The energy levels have changed. The emotional impact, the levels of stress that you're experiencing, the levels of fatigue that people are experiencing, particularly even in this COVID period. We know now that more and more people are experiencing more and more tiredness and exhaustion, and you're trying to figure out a way of how to keep this virus at bay and not near your door. So there's a day-to-day impact on this, but fundamentally it's like a drain. It's an energy drain. And if you're giving away in this energy drain all this stuff all the time and not giving to yourself and sustaining yourself, because remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. And one of the key lessons and thinking and insights that we have in this program is around self-care. The whole idea of this carers program is around self-care fundamentally. But recognizing that there's massive impact, financial, social, emotional, relationship, the impact with the children. And just acknowledging that and starting with acknowledging that is a big first step. The roles are really interesting. Just to go back to that for a minute, is around these roles that people play, and because of the carer's role that's suddenly imposed on us, it's something we don't want. And quite often people are more, when you meet you first, and no doubt you have the same experience, they might say, how is A or B? They never ask how you are as the carer. And that's one of the most common and frustrating things I find myself. And similarly, when you're talking about how do you preserve the other roles in your life? The role of husband, partner, wife, lover, mother, all that, how do you, father, whatever it is, how do you preserve them other roles? Because there's quite often in an acquired brain injury, there's a dependency shift. There was an equal relationship and the power was equal, but sometimes the person who's experienced the acquired brain injury, there has a higher level of dependency, and with that dependency, sometimes the decision making is left only with the carer. So it's important really to balance that out and say that the individual may have a need for caring, but that doesn't necessarily mean to have a need not to be involved in the decision making, or that you can get someone to share that decision making. That's really important. And I know as you're walking around your house, you might get triggers to each time, a trigger, because of the adaptations in your house. The walk-in shower, or maybe the handle that's on the place that wasn't there before, and it triggers, it reminds you that you're in this different space in your life. But it also needs to remind you that I'm inviting you to think that these adaptations are also to trigger you around some self-care, how you can put yourself into a position of self-care so that you don't get burnt out or stressed. And this is something we'll be talking about later on in our next program.